Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special feature here. We have a special feature of a Zerg who feels that Protoss is overpowered, and ad nauseum has pointed this out in the chat, talking about triple expanding, getting super head against Protoss, but not being able to do anything. So this will be a Neuro replay roast. We are going over this game, and I will painstakingly point out all of the mistakes that I see. Because the more important thing than whether or not a matchup is balanced is what you can do better moving forward as a player. Some people were saying that Protoss is disproportionately strong in the lower leagues, but the sunshine, the beautiful aspect that you can rely upon as a Meta League player is that it's not hard to find your mistakes because there are a lot of them. You get the hatch first, that's great. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That was the first big mistake that we see here. As a Zerg, you want to be spending your larva as fast as possible. So the next time you get $50, you get a drone. The next time you get $50, you get a second drone. The next time you get 50, you get a third drone. So we've made a mistake here in the first minute of the match, not making drones. The Protoss opponent is going Nexus first, which means they cannot attack the Zerg for like 7 minutes. You have total freedom to do whatever you like, such as a hatch gas pool. Beautiful. We have a build. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're getting the drones. Protoss is getting a gateway. Their name is the Gambler, and they're going for a greed cheese, which would die to any 12 pool. 13 pool, or 14 pool. But we're a macro Zerg. We want to get hatch gas pool, we want to get ahead. We want to take a base and defense it. I respect that. And that's what I do most of the time. We're getting a 19 Overlord, making 2 queens, and floating larva once again. We have ling speed, we're pulling workers off of gas, and right now in the video game we have 6 larva sitting on the floor, doing nothing. Zerg produces larva from the hatchery. The larva can be any unit except for a queen. It could be a drone, or it could be a Zergling, or it could be an Overlord. You have 3 choices here. And the worst choice of these 3 is actually a hidden 4th choice, which is to not make units. We should be spamming drones, as though our life depends on it, with such terrible speed and swiftness that the world has never seen someone make so many drones. There's the 3rd base going up, that's cool. Queen is out, we're injecting the bases and we have ling speed. We have so much room for activities because we overlorded a little bit for this build. So I see what the idea is, you're trying to take a 3rd really fast. That's pretty cool, but if it causes you to float larva, you may as well just take it at 30 supply. That's why most Zergs will go 20 Overlord and then 30 supply hatchery. It's so that you don't have to float larva, which is a pretty substantial mistake. Our opponent has a wall off here. This is a wall off that is so garbage you can actually reactively punish this. The Protoss went Nexus first, and they have 2 buildings here and an Adept. If you rammed 5 Banelings right here, you kill the Adept, this pylon, and this pylon all at the same time, and you win. This is a build that you can do reactively to a hatch gas pool kind of scenario. So you went hatch gas pool, you got your ling speed, your first Overlord gets here, and if you see this, you can kill this Protoss because this is a bad wall. Maybe you didn't know this, but now you know this. I don't know why the Overlord is going over here. But you can just chill here. And you can see everything, such as this atrocious wall that is very easily busted. You just put down a Bane nest, put workers back in the gas, more 5 Banes right here, spam lings, break the wall, kill the Protoss. But we're a macro Zerg, and we want a drone. So what we should do is make sure our 30 Overlord is on time. We are supply blocked beyond all reason, and it's going to be a good bit of time before we can make units again, unfortunately. We have 7 idle larvae. Okay, now we're droning again. A little bit of a hiccup there. And our Protoss buddy is well ahead of us in workers due to the supply block and the lack of larva spending early on. With how passive the Protoss has been, we could have probably had about 40 workers at this point, maybe 42. But you do have some traffic jam situations in the early game, and we're not dead yet. This is a doable situation. One thing that we could add into our repertoire here is checking the timing of the opponent's third base. Some Protoss would have taken a third base by this time, but we have no way of knowing this. There is an Overlord going into the main base while we float 5 larvae. And are about to be supply blocked again. Oh no, we have another Overlord. That's good. 8 lings are being made. Getting a Roach Warren just in case. And we see the fleet beacon. So if there's a fleet beacon this fast, you don't need a Roach Warren. You would just be playing roaches into Void Rays, which is bad. So you can cancel this. And if you see a fleet beacon this early, you want to be spamming queens and drones up to about 80. 80 drones at least, and just massing queens. And if they're going for the fleet beacon, you can just go for Spire. So this is a really good scout. Clap, clap. Very well done. You get to see exactly what tech is being taken. And since it's 2-base carrier, or even if it was speed void, they can't have any ground presence at all, which means you can just spam queens and drones. You don't have to make a single ground unit. Making 8 lings I think is fine, because you can delay the third base. But we've seen everything we need to see with the Overlord Scout, so we should be droning as fast as we can up to about 80. The drone production continues, which is good. This is 2 mistakes right here. We're not going to get gases yet. We just want to refill this gas and take 1 gas and take a 4th base and spam drones as fast as we can. Every base should be injected. And right now we have 1 base injected out of 3, even though the opponent has not harassed us at all the entire game. Triple Evo. I wouldn't do this, but you could go Ultra Hydra potentially. The problem is you're not going to be able to do anything with the Triple Evo against the carrier, and it doesn't really shine until 3-3-3. So you're going for a super, super, super late game approach here. And now we have $1 million. This base could be taken probably around 4:30. We're taking it now. We want to spam queens. Every hatchery should be making a queen constantly. Every hatch, except the one making a lair, obviously. We can fill the gases here. We're supply blocked again at 74. And Protoss is just chilling on 2 bases. But the thing is, they had the worker lead in the early game, and they're working toward a really strong army composition, and we haven't utilized the benefit of having total freedom on the map by droning fast enough. We have 58 workers when we should be gunning for 80 super, super fast. And we're floating minerals. You could even double expand against this, but personally I would prefer just trying to get these bases saturated completely as fast as possible. So I would recommend getting in a custom game and doing a practice mode from this Overlord Scout, because I like this. This is a good starting point. If this is your strat, you send in an Overlord at a key time. If you see a fleet beacon, you've just entered a scenario where you're trying to get to 80 workers as fast as possible with double Evo, melee and carapace, lair, all of your bases saturated perfectly. That means mineral count 16 to 18. Both gases 3 out of 3. 16 to 18, both gases 3 out of 3. 16 to 18, both gases 3 out of 3. 4th base with 16. And you are in the fastest, most amazing race of your life to get to that point. You can use some lings to trip up stuff here. And you want to get carapace on your spire. And you want to spam queens every time you float minerals and you've spent all your larvae into drones. But all you have to do is make drones and not be supply blocked. Up to about 80. Get your bases saturated. So the mindset here, I understand the tilt of, yeah, maybe Void Rays are really strong, so Protoss can get their 3rd base for free. But this Protoss isn't even doing that. They're just doing 2-base carrier, which means they can't attack you until they get about, I don't know, 4 to 6, which is going to take a long time. They have 1 adept right now. So they would die to any baneling attack, which is kind of greedy. And they also don't have a great way to defend a third base against just a few lings early on. So this opening that they're going for is not great, but we're not capitalizing on the freedom they're giving us right now, because we're supply blocked and our bases are not injected, and we're not making queens from them. So if you want to frame a versus passive sky toss match in a positive way, you could say, okay, we see carriers. I'm going to gun it to 80 drones as fast as I can and practice my macro. Because you can't practice your macro if they send 30 probes of zealots at you with a prism. That's practicing your unit control and your positioning and your reads and scouting. But in this case, this is carrier. We get to practice our macro. We get to practice our queen production, our larva spending, our supply management, and just droning the fourth base faster than you can say Kansas City. Super, super fast droning. But we're floating money. So if we can be honest with ourselves, this is the kind of match where, yes, you lost the foot race, but you did trip over your own feet a few times. And it wasn't so much that the opponent just was super, super fast or they got a head start on you. We tripped and we fell. And if we can be honest about that, I tripped over myself and I fell a few times and it wasn't my best race. And I want to watch out for that next time. Then you can just move into the next match with a practice-oriented mindset of, I'm not very fast at getting 80 drones whenever I have complete map freedom, and I need to work on that. So you have something good that you have ahead of you. You have matches where you're going to have 80 drones faster. We just have tech for days, but our drone count, this is like you're about to defend a 2-base all-in kind of a drone count. But it's carrier, and they can't attack you until they get a whole bunch, and you can just defend it with pure queen. And maybe 2 spores here, 2 spores there, 2 spores there, and then all queens. Get your spire, carapace upgrade, single spire, and just make 30 corruptors. If you get 30 corruptors with armor, you swoop in, right-click one, instantly dies. Right-click the second one, instantly dies. Right-click the third one, instantly dies. Right-click the fourth one, instantly dies. Right-click the fifth one, it instantly dies. Because corruptors deal bonus damage to massive units, but they're expensive, so you need to drone really fast in the early game. And we didn't capitalize on that. We just now have 74 workers at like the 9-minute mark. I will show you something now. I will show you. How do I saturate 3 bases and a 4th base? One might ponder to themselves. What if my Protoss opponent is completely passive? How can I capitalize on that? I will show you. Put my Overlord in a spot where I can browse the wall until a Void Ray tells me that I can no longer browse. I'm gonna spend my larva so incredibly fast, you won't even see it. It's gonna be invisible. It's just gonna be eggs next to my hatchery. That is the essence of playing Zerg. If I want to be really try hard, I send this worker down at like 145. Let's just imagine that this is blocked. Just to make it harder on myself. Because Protoss can do that. And they can go into carrier after. I got my 3rd. I'm going hatch gas pool. Same as our lovely buddy who submitted the replay. I put this Overlord over the space. I get this. And I drone. I'm gonna rally all 3 of these eggs directly into this. And I have drone bound to rapid fire. And I'm actually just holding down the drone button. I'm not spamming drone. My finger is just on the button. And I just keep it on the button. Kind of like you hit the gas pedal in a vehicle if you want to go fast. And the cool thing about StarCraft is you can drone really fast and there are no police officers who would give you a speeding ticket. You can just drone as fast as you want. And that's beautiful. That's freedom. And you know what's even more beautiful? A person who goes carriers gives you even more freedom to drone. Because they have no way of attacking you for 3 to 5 business days. I'm gonna make 4 lings from here. Drones from here. Making a drone from this base. This drone will be rallied over here. Getting my ling speed. Injecting this. Injecting this. Taking this. Overlord this. Drone this. And drone this. And get a queen. My larva is spent. My money is spent. I have a base. And I'm trying not to be supply blocked. The best of my ability. And I'm droning. Just spamming drones, and I'm trying not to be supply blocked. Look at this. We see adept, gateway, stuff like that. I'm using my imagination right now. And I'm spamming drones. And I'm making another queen here. Trying to connect my bases with creep. Because I'm making it harder on myself, imagining if a pro blocked me. I have another unit cooking up here. Another queen. Look at this, my 3rd base is saturated, so I'm going to work on my natural. Ling speed is done. I'm checking for my opponent's 3rds. Oh my goodness, that base just finished and I already have a queen that injected it. This base is injected, that base is injected. And we're imagining that same Overlord Scout that we saw in the game. What did we see in that Overlord Scout? I'm imagining carrier stuff, fleet beacon. This is an AI, so they're not doing what the last opponent did. But we see carrier, and we say, okay, I see your carriers. I'm gonna try to macro as fast as I can. How fast can we get 80 drones? 4 bases saturated, 6 gas. We're off to the races now. Anytime I float minerals, I make more queens. 4th base. Right at 300 minerals. I'm not supply blocked. This space is oversaturated. This one's oversaturated. This one's getting there. That's not injected, that's a mistake. I make mistakes too. Can you believe that? I'm trying to contest a base location with these lings. My layer's done. I could even overseer scout like a bouse. I fill the gases right away. I get a spore at each base. Anytime I float minerals, I make queens. I can make some evos. I can also make a spire, because I have a whole bunch of money. 4th base is coming up. I have 71 workers. 5 minutes 45. Now it's time to drone this base. Because my opponent has carriers and they can't attack me for 3 to 5 business days. My queen count is already, what, 7 or 8? It's pretty good. I'll add in a Bane Nest, because I don't give a fuck. I have the money for that, and a Bane Nest is cheap. And I'm spamming drones. I have 86 drones right now. It's 6 minutes. And I have evos. And my bases are all injected. And I have queens at every single base. And now it's time to spam overlords. because it's carriers and I need to make some corruptors. Let's make an overseer for the corruptor group. Let's also get a 5th base. I can use my lings to get this. And then what if they attack me up here? I can add some drones. I'll get Bane speed. I can drone this too. Give a couple spores to help these queens. Carapace right away. Every base is injected. 5th base is taken and it's hotkeyed and I have a camera. And I have 90 drones. And now it's time to mass corruptors. The queens defend the drones. The corruptors kill the carriers. That's it. The lings can run around if they have zealots or something for some reason. You could mass ling Bane. But I'm just gonna see how fast I can get these corruptors out. And then anytime I run out of gas, I can just make lings. So I'm making Ling Bane Corruptor, and I'm getting an infestation pit to work toward Hive. Okay. So at like 8 minutes, we have 18 corruptors. I have a bunch of lings. I can even make more queens. I have 8 queens in the group, that's not counting the injecting queens. And then I can get another upgrade from this right after. An attack upgrade, sure. Fun. Let's get a hive. And then I could get 2/2 after that. These lings can just knock down a 4th. And then the corruptors will be able to one-hit the carriers. And you want to stack them up like this, like Jadon. Stack them up so they all hit at the same time. They do a bonus damage to massive units. So if they give you complete freedom to drone to 90 right away, then you can spam corruptors and even take a kind of bad trade and even afford some Ling Bane and even have a shit ton of creep because they have to play passively with carriers because they can't attack you for 3 to 5 business days. So I have my corruptors here. I can pick off new carriers that are coming out. Boom, kill the carrier. Boom, kill the carrier. These deny a 4th base. And then when the hive is done, I could get Greater Spire if I wanted to. Or I could get Ultras if they went High Templar. And I can also get Adrenal. Because I have $1 billion, I can make all the units. I'll make sure my stuff is upgrading it every time. And I attack. And every base is injected. And a carrier player sucks at defending like random Ling Bane attacks. Because they want to have all their stuff in one clump. So the corruptors can even distract them and pull them away while the lings kill stuff. That's how you macro. You have to drone your bases. Thank you, Neuro Sensei. Still have much to learn. You're welcome. Thank you for being gracious with the match and stuff. I know the feeling whenever you lose and you're riding off the back of a lot of hard work in the match. StarCraft is very, very hard to play. So even if you lost, you did a lot of stuff well. And that's the part that's really confusing. Because you feel like I worked hard, I should deserve a victory. Kind of like I mowed this lawn, I expect the lawn to be mowed. Maybe there are a few spots that I missed, but it's mostly a mowed lawn. But with a competitive game that's MMR based, you put in the effort and you mow that lawn, but if it's not good enough, it's twice as high as when you started. It just like grew some, which psychologically is really difficult to deal with. It's frustrating. So hang in there, fam. Try to get out of the match and maybe look at a few of your main mistakes and then create some 1, 2, 3 of the next time I'm playing a match in this matchup. What is my 1, 2, 3? Looking at your game, it would be supply management. Try not to be supply blocked early on. Droning really fast. As soon as the larva is ready, drone really fast. Really fast. The scout was good, so you get a gold star there. But if you see that it's carrier, go to 80. 80 drones, and then think about your tech. 80 drones, massing queens, and then you get the corruptors out. That's the strat.